Bruce, you must have something really good too.
Of course I do. It's Bruce Danielson, and I guess I'm here to entertain you too.
Additions to it.
Did the consultant let you know where the water is draining that is going into the walls? I'm the one that's brought this to the public, and I'm going to speak my piece here because I have witnessed massive amounts of water coming out of the walls through the years, and it used to come out through some spots that eventually had like great stuff sprayed in there to stop the drainage from coming over the sidewalk. Does anybody know where the water is actually coming out of the walls now? Because according to this photo number 6, there's water, and you can see rust in there. That water has been accumulating in this area. And did the consultant find where that water is draining out of the walls? I am media, so I'm here as part of the media, Mr. Mayor. So if you would answer my questions as you answer everybody else's questions. I know you try to ignore me, but do you have an answer for that?
Again, if anybody in the media has any questions, we'd be more than happy.
Okay, I'll ask about photo number 6.
Well, a couple of more contentious topics have been in the news lately, and of course they showed up in some of these questions to you as well. Paula asked about one of them on Facebook. She asks, why is there faulty siding on the Pentagon that has not been fixed? And of course I think she's referring to the event center, not the Pentagon.
Yes.
She's particularly asking about the siding at the event center.
Paula's asking?
Yep.
Okay. Paula, you know, it has been a topic of conversation for, well, ever since the event center was being built or was built, and even now, you know, with all the great things going on at the event center, we still have a few folks, including some in the media, who, you know, want to continually talk about the siding and the rippled panels or whatever. And, you know, I get that. I think it's fine. But the reality is that I don't think there was ever any real talk about removing the siding from the Denty Sanford Premier Center. I mean, I've been pretty close to that topic, and I don't think we ever considered removing that siding. We believe that not only is it beautiful and functional on the inside, most of the comments that we get believe that it's unbelievably beautiful and functional on the outside too. However, the reality is that, yeah, those panels, at least in some sections of our event center, they are rippled. And that was one of the reasons why we went back to the entities that were, you know, responsible for building it. And that's why we did get into a negotiated settlement to you know, at least get some compensation for that. And we received a $1 million settlement on behalf of the taxpayers of Sioux Falls as some sort of, I guess, compensation to allow us to, you know, move forward, but also, you know, identify that, yeah, that wasn't the way that we ultimately wanted it to be, you know, when we first envisioned it. What ended up happening, though, at the end is that because we still had some folks that just continually wanted to not only talk about the panels, but there were some who said, well, if they're bent, that means it's structurally not sound. I don't want to say anybody, but very few people ever believe that. But if there's a drum roller out there and people just keep saying it, a few that are, you know, loud, vocal, organized, and maybe just trying to stir the pot a little bit, if you keep hearing that, whether it be in your family, whether it's, you know, your kids or your church or business, or at some point in time, you say, you know what, let's just deal with that contentious topic and get it done with. And so what we ended up doing is we said, okay, let's just hire an objective third party and have them do an analysis of the structural integrity of the Denty Sanford Premier Center, and then move on. I personally was not a big proponent of doing it, but like I said, at some point in time, you just kind of fish or cut bait. And so we had Council Chair Kylie, Council Vice Chair Erickson, myself, we got together. We talked about, let's do this. And so we did. Hired a really strong third party who came in and found out exactly what we all thought was going to happen. And that was, now there's no structural integrity issues with our Premier Center. They did make some really solid recommendations, every 10 years, continue to look at it. Just like you would any entity that you own, whether it be your home or your church or your business in our event center. But no, they did find that even with a rippled panel, our event center is very, very structurally sound inside and out. But again, we'll move on. And you know what, Heather? My gut says there's still going to be folks that, I don't know why, but they do. They always want to go back and create negative or agitate or create distrust or rumor, innuendo, whatever it would be. And it happens in government so often, and it's just so unproductive. It really doesn't help anybody. And worse yet, I think, Heather, is this, and people of Sioux Falls, I think that at some point in time, you need to, what are you going to do with the time or your resources or your energy or these valuable city employees that we have? When are you going to allow them to go focus on capturing other opportunities or addressing other issues? And that's what I would always encourage the people of Sioux Falls and the people of South Dakota to understand, is that at some point in time, you do have to make a decision. You do try to do your best to answer the questions that are out there. And then after you've answered them, move on already. I've said this before, and I'm beginning to realize it more and more after 8 years. And we can answer the questions until we're blue in the face. We can do all the due diligence, till the end of time. But there are some out there who they just only want the answer that they want. And if you don't give them the answer, they're never satisfied because it's not the answer that they want. We'll give you the answers. And we've done that in Sioux Falls city government over the last 8 years and more. But sadly, it's just not the answer that some people want, and they'll never be satisfied until they get it.
Well, and we have been talking about this sighting for 4 years, almost 4 years we've been talking about the sighting. But my own personal Facebook feed, when I look through my Facebook feed, I have friends that are at the event center probably, it seems like every other weekend, going to a concert and enjoying themselves, and I've never had a single one of them ask me, what about that sighting, Heather? But they sure tell me about the fun they had at the concert.
I think that's not only for you, Heather, but also for me. I'm the mayor. I'm responsible for these 180,000 plus people that live here, and yes, all the visitors that come here. I've tried to be available, open, transparent, engaging, and folks, I don't know if you believe it or not, but you're right. When it comes to the event center metal panels, I don't know if I've received, more than 1 or 2 comments on it. And sincerely. But again, whether it be this topic or that topic, most people, they just want government to be productive, to be effective, to really make good things happen on behalf of the people as a whole. And they don't get caught up into these very, very sometimes contentious issues that some people just want to keep bringing up over and over and over again. They just want us to get things done and leave the city of Sioux Falls better than we found it, and I think that we've done that.
Folks, anybody else want to entertain us?
We don't come up here to entertain you. We come up here to inform you.